everybody, how's it going? I've got 4 things for us. I have today's wisdom, it's brief, sharing a vision of the energies of today. And then I have 3 mini discussions. One of them's a journey, inspired by Nora Sanchez 3268. You had asked if I would channel Prince, so I channel Prince. I also responded to this question from A-Way 7340. You wanted me to share a little bit more about depression and human awakening, working with the higher self, guides, angels, in order to stay balanced. I share some different reflections on that. And then finally, I had a comment from 123 Chirika 321. You were wanting me to share some reflection on these 4 shadow elements: chaos, darkness, void, oblivion. So I do that. So I've got a lot in store for us today. If there's anything you, the viewer, would be interested in asking me, whether you want me to channel some consciousness in the universe or just ask a question, please feel free. You might be the inspiration for the next video. And don't be shy to subscribe, like, and share. I'm going to get started on that today's wisdom now. Today's wisdom, it's 2/18/2023. I've got 2 keywords. The first keyword, existence. The second keyword, acceptance. You guys are going to have to tell me what you think about this vision for the energies of today. The first picture they showed me, it's a still shot of the ocean. The ocean, you can see the waves, you can see the sun, but nothing is moving. So it's almost like time is standing still. And I felt this inspiration to make adjustments or improvements. One of the ideas that I had was to activate time or allow time to move forward. I wasn't able to activate time. The next idea I had was to amplify the warmth of the sun, as the image was chilly or cold. Well, I couldn't amplify the warmth of the sun, and I thought, well, I'm just going to embrace things the way they are. Embracing things the way they are, yes, that is an option. That's always an option. We should be doing that. We should always be embracing our lives the way that they are. But there is something in just the image, just the way it was, the fact that you can't change anything about it. It was that concept of existence, just the way that it is. Existence, just the way that it is. The next vision I had, it was this darkness, okay? And it was complicated. And I could hear the crunching of like dried leaves. I felt like there was this overgrowth all around me. And I'm just fudging my way through, maneuvering my way through this. And I can't get out of this overgrowth. And that was it. That was the image. It's like existence that you're going to have to accept. You embrace things just the way that they are. Life isn't always about how to make it better, how to make the improvement. Sometimes it's just being. Being in the midst of what you have doesn't even mean you have to embrace it. You just are being in it. Being in acceptance or being in the experience of it, in the existence of it. That was what the vision was. So existence, acceptance. What do you guys think of those 2 images? I'm going to move on and I'm going to be channeling Prince next. Here we go. I had a really sweet comment, and this comment is from Nora Sanchez 3268. That's you. You were asking me if I could channel Prince, that was one of your favorite journeys. And I'm absolutely going to channel Prince. I want to thank you for what you wrote. You said, "You have shown me so much since 2010. Thank you for all the advice and journeys. My most favorite one was Prince. Can you channel him again?" And then you said, "OMG, thank you, Abbey. You made me cry like a baby. I love you so much. I hope you know that." That was really sweet of you to say. And thank you. Thank you so much. Shall we channel Prince? Shall we see what Prince would like to share with all of us? I don't know what version of the Infinite Prince I'm going to be visiting, but I'm going to throw it out to the universe, and we're just going to let this unfold, okay? Thank you so much for this recommendation, and thank you so much for all your kind words. Okay. Prince, the Infinite Prince, in all your many selves, close to Earth or somewhere else in the infinite universe, your higher self. What is the most meaningful message that you could share with all of us today? It's the week of Valentine's Day. So I'm shown a heart. It's your very basic run-of-the-mill heart shape. It's red, and it's starting to take shape, like 3D. So it's not just a flat image. And as this sort of balloon heart now, it's starting to beat. And I'm watching this heart beating, and it is beating steadily. I'm touching this heart. And there's vulnerability about this. Sometimes I hear an echo that says, did you want this heart all to yourself? Go on, take it. Take my heart, why don't you? And I ask, if this is what you want, Prince, what is it that you want? Seems like there's two images that come up next. It's raining outside, and I can see the rain on the window, and it's like a sliding glass window to a balcony. And it's raining so heavily that I can see the rain more than I can see what is in the distance. I also see a man sitting on the edge of a bed, and he's crying. And love is a confusing thing sometimes. It's not just about falling in love or sharing your life with a soulmate. It's about being loved by many people. It's like being a celebrity with many people who adore you. And it gets confusing. Seems to me that in his heart he really wanted to reach people. And in discovering that he is reaching people, people reach back. And it's hard to know how to find harmony or balance with all the hands that are reaching back. It's more hands than one human being knows what to do with. Then sometimes it transforms into feeling like your life or your heart doesn't belong to you. It belongs to a world full of people who want you, who adore you, who are inspired by you. It's confusing. I tell him in response to those echoes that his heart is his heart, and that what he does with his heart is his choice. And if he loves inspiring people with music, that is his choice too, and it's their choice to love you back. I think it happens. It just kind of happens that way. And I start to notice that there's so much sound sometimes. Whether it's really heard by the human ears, it is felt inside the soul or is felt inside his human body. And the question of it seems to me in this scene that he just wants to be alone for a little bit. And I see him lying on the bed just looking at the ceiling, and it's raining outside still. And again, I touch his heart and I give him the experience of space. But what I do is I move this entire scene to a place where he can have peace. And a place with peace is just It could be anywhere. It could be extremely remote, could be on another planet, could be in a dimension that is your own dimension, your own universe. You do whatever you want there, you create whatever you want. It's just time to heal. It's just time to be with your own energy and welcome other energies that you would like to spend that eternity with until you choose to leave that eternity and enter some other eternity. An eternity could be a day, it could be 1,000,000 years. And even if it's 1,000,000 years, you could turn it into a day. That's what time is like in the energy world. A second can be 1,000,000,000 years. Or a second could be 10,000 years ago. It's crazy like that. Ask Prince's higher self if there's more that could be shared about this. So Prince's higher self comes forward as a female energy. I'm absolutely in awe of her. She has incredible green eyes. And she looks like kind of a majestic tiger or lion, almost like a mix. And I experience being free and running wild. I experience a combination between a human spirit, sexual energy, and being an animal in the wild and free to follow one's instinct. I see a man in a shower and he is cleaning his body. It's not just a shower to clean oneself, it's literally taking the time, the care and attention to wanting to be clean. The shower's turned off, he leaves the shower and he drives off with a towel. He wants the freedom to leave his house. He feels trapped. We're suddenly back in that scene where he was lying on the bed and I moved it to a peaceful place, and this version of his higher self comes forward as this majestic woman, lion, tiger, running wild with this sort of sexual freedom, this animalistic instinct and this connection with nature. I show him a door and I say, you can leave any time. He wants to walk outside naked. I kind of laugh and I say, sure, why not? Why not? If you want to. He says human beings are not free. I say, why do you say that? And again, he points to the image of the heart that's beating. And he says it's confusing to know what love is here. It's to know how to share love and how to receive love and how to feel like you can be yourself. Then sometimes your freedom is to stay indoors, but it locks you inside. And I see he closes his eyes and I return to the higher self. And she's smiling and she's phenomenal. I see the spirit of a tribal woman and her feet are on the ground. Her mind or her spirit is in the stars. That she's connected to her body at the same time and she's dancing and she's moving her body and this language comes out of her. And it doesn't represent the language of these people. It represents the language of spirit. And she's entranced by drums, she's entranced by nature, she's entranced by air itself, by breath, by her own heartbeat, by something of her physical and something beyond herself, and it just expresses through her completely. And she does recall some of what happens, but she doesn't recall everything. Then she does wake up the next day, and she doesn't necessarily feel peace in her life, but she knows her life's purpose. She knows her life's calling. And even if her life's calling is this, and there is a completed state in knowing that, it doesn't always mean it makes sense. And she looks in the direction of Prince's life, and there's this feeling that he knew who he was, he knew his life's purpose, but that doesn't mean he felt complete. And I get the feeling of being an animal. And as an animal, you follow your instincts. It's not about a life purpose that you feel complete or incomplete. You live. You just simply live. And there is a sense of breath about that. And that's the message. It's really deep. You'll have to share your thoughts about it. Thank you so much for making this recommendation. I had another really nice comment. This is from AWay7340. It's about depression, spiritual awakening. It's about receiving help from our higher self guides, angels, and how to achieve balance. This is your comment here. And I'm going to read it. You say, "Hi, Abbey. Depression is a common thing, and we all go through this on some level, especially in terms of awakening, etc. I'm sure your deep and spiritual understanding of this issue could help people. How does it look energetically? What happens in the spiritual room? Can our higher self, guides, angels, can they help us? How do we achieve balance? It'd be great to know your views and knowledge." I had to take some time to reflect on how I wanted to answer this. And an image came to me, and I saw a human being was an orange. And the orange has to be peeled, it's put into a juicer, and then it's transformed into this orange juice. And a human life is hard because we're going from one self-expression into some other self-expression that we always were and just weren't aware of it. And I asked myself, why is it common for us to struggle with depression here? And you're right, I think a lot of people do feel depression at different volumes and different levels. I think we're all kind of oranges going through a juicer, and we're discovering ourselves more and more and more in time. And while that's a triumphant thing, it doesn't always feel that way. It feels difficult. And perhaps we're prone to feeling more of the heavy difficulty of it than feeling the celebration of it. It makes sense. To be peeled, put through a juicer, and then turned into orange juice, you can only wonder what in the world just happened. And who am I now, and how do I make sense of myself, the juice? And I wanted to mention too, because I get this a lot, how do we let our higher selves and our spirit guides and angels, how do we let them help us? And if we were to talk to them and welcome them to help us and nothing changes, then the question is, what am I doing wrong? I believe in love. I know love is there. I'm asking love to help me. I know that I can have a joyful, happy life. I want to have that. I'm open to having that. What am I doing wrong? Why am I not able to achieve this? It takes us back to the orange and the juicer and the orange juice. Your higher self, your angels, your guides can't prevent you from your learning. And your learning is the extraordinary part of who you are. So our higher selves, guides, angels are there to guide us through this process of regular transformation and rebirth in a single lifetime. And it's up to you to decide if you're going to hold on to the pain and suffering of that, or if you're going to hold on to the action and the joy and the achievement and the success of who you are. because that's the real love that is coming from the inside out. You are actually a star that is shining in the universe and shining on planet Earth. That's what a light worker is. I suppose that's the awakening side of things. But there's some of us who are very sensitive to other people, and we're very caring, we're very loving, we're very patient. And we feel there is a living energy of love that is everywhere, and we just want to see it surrounding everybody, see it within everybody. Everybody is joyful, everybody is smiling, that this world doesn't have to be painful, that it could be happy and wonderful. And the orange that becomes the juice was like, I don't know, a path across the rainbow in the sky, and it didn't feel painful at all. It felt rejuvenating and full of breath and rejoice. So those are some of the thoughts that came to my mind. But I know there's one more thing that I want to say about this. I'm trying to present the way that it can feel to be human, the way that it can feel to reach out to our guides for help, for an answer, for a solution, the way that we can feel from the inside that this world can be so wonderful. And why can't it just be wonderful? Why can't it just be that? It also requires you to be that for this world. I think a lot about the animal kingdom. I've had this image coming to me recently, and it's a field full of bunny rabbits. The bunny rabbits are having a heyday. It's their field, making babies, doing what bunny rabbits do. Then a family of foxes come along, and they see this delicious field of bunny rabbits, and the foxes come and they eat as many bunny rabbits as they could ever want. And the foxes are now fat and happy, and the bunny rabbits are run thin. They're full of fear, and they're trying to survive. And in nature, there's feast and there's famine. So the bunny rabbits have their heyday, the foxes come in, have their heyday, but eventually the foxes will have to go through their famine. When the rabbits are all gone, what happens to the foxes? Maybe wolves come in and eat the foxes, or maybe the foxes starve because the food just isn't there. Nature always runs its course, and it's not necessarily always easy. And in our human world, I feel there's an odd sense of detachment from nature, that we don't remember what it's like to work with our hands, to have to farm a field all day long, to worry about how this winter is going to go and make sure we have enough food stocked to survive it. We don't know how the rains are going to come. We don't know what this harvest season is going to look like. We don't know how cold or how hot or how dry. Thousands of generations of human beings have lived so close to the earth, and we are living differently these days. But we are still a part of nature. And I don't think that there is a human life, it doesn't matter how long ago it was, how close to the earth, or how perhaps we are closer to our technology these days. We are always looking for that type of the feast that never ends, right? The joy that is everlasting. But in nature, there is a balance required. And perhaps depression is speaking to us, and we have to override whatever is pulling us down. It might be encouraging us to speak up, might be encouraging us to let go of the habit of being inside and go outside, no matter how uncomfortable it might feel, to change up that habit. We can outsmart this depression, might be a messenger of a different kind, guiding us to new steps in life. I know part of my depression required me to really embrace being myself and not follow the path or the guidance of anybody but me. And I can't say that I like being a unique individual and to say things that are completely outside the box and to not really make sense to practical people who would choose a religion over a spiritual open-mindedness, or would choose a science over a spiritual open-mindedness, might not make sense. And I can't care about that. I can't want to make sense to people outside myself. I can only want to be me and find out who that is. And sometimes I wonder if this word selfishness I find peculiar, because life will always be selfish in a way. Not because it's a negative thing, because you'll never be able to get away from yourself. Therefore, when you embrace yourself completely, it's not selfish in a negative way, it's just nature. You will always have you and be you through and through, without the influence of what is outside, because the world is starving for original people. And once you can embrace that and glow with that starlight that you came here to be on this planet, it will help you to know that you don't have to be depressed. And some days you'll feel sad, but some days you'll be celebrating too. And that is life. The orange getting peeled through the juicer becomes the delicious juice that you've always been. And maybe the process is a little daunting, but it's also very special, and it creates very special people in this world, in history, in time, and creates incredible souls. And those are some of the thoughts that have come to me about your comment, and thank you very much for sharing, and thank you so much for watching. I had another wonderful comment, and the comment is asking for my reflection on different shadow elements, and I'm going to talk about darkness. So this comment is from 123 Charika 321. That's your comment there. And you say, the four shadow elements: chaos, darkness, void, oblivion. How they might be experienced depends on the individual. And I really love hearing your reflection. Okay, so what does Abbey have to say about darkness? And why do I want to talk about darkness? I could talk about void too. Oblivion is one that I haven't visited. Oblivion in the energy world. I'm kind of wondering what that looks like exactly. What does oblivion look like? Void is a wonderful space to go visit, because nothing and everything is there. And void is forever in every direction, with nothing in it, and also access to everything. And a void space, it's just like, I guess, wandering with no direction. You ever feel that way in your human life? That you're in the void? You just feel like you're wandering with no real direction. You might even feel like you're not exactly grounded. You don't really know where you're going, what you're doing in your life. It's like you're moving through the void. What creates a void? What inspires a human being to feel their soul's presence in a void space? It's not as if you just travel to a void. Your soul is traveling the universe all the time. So right now, if you're going through life and you just don't feel an access to your purpose, you can be moving through the void right now. And why would you be doing that? Because you need to digest nothing and everything all at the same time. You may be downloading an inspiration or waiting for that inspiration to reveal itself. You may not be ready to take action yet. And so you're just existing. It's interesting because that's the key word for today's wisdom, is existing. And while I want to talk about darkness, I chose to talk about void. Darkness in the energy world, that's one of my favorite places to go. And that might sound strange because we interpret darkness as an evil thing, as a bad thing. I find that there's an odd sense of peace in the dark. And I often wonder if the darkness is more full of light than we know. And as human beings, we translate that light is illuminating. So if you're in the human world, it's nighttime, you turn on the light, you can see your room. Turn off the light and the darkness makes it hard to see your room. So in the energy world, if you're moving through a dark time in your human life, you're trying to find the illumination to see what you're really going through. You might not have access to the light switch. And that darkness then can also cover your heart, and it can make it so you just feel like you're going down a drain when none of those things are happening. You just have decided that that's what darkness feels like to you. But darkness can feel like peace. Darkness can feel like peace. And sometimes when my life gets really crazy, I would find myself going into the garage door shut, and I turn all the lights off and I would not be able to see a thing. And when I would do that, it was like I could breathe, and it was the one place I could go to disconnect from every single sound. There's so many sounds, so many responsibilities, so many things to do in a week, so many people that need our help, or so, there's just so much, even to your name, even to what it is to be a parent, what it is to get the paperwork done and check the mailbox and get the groceries and make sure you're catching up with people you hadn't talked to in a while. And it's just, there's so many things always on the task list, and sometimes it feels like it piles up on top of you and you feel responsible for everything that you're not getting done. And that's when you go sit in the garage with the light off, and it just helps you to breathe. Because none of those things are really crushing you at all. You're just crushing yourself with the idea that you have to do all of these things. And when you're in the dark, it reminds you of that. So that's a peaceful side of darkness. There's also a place that I call the abyss. And when souls go into the abyss, they get swallowed up and lost in there. And some of the darkest places that you could go. I feel like depression and the abyss are kind of in tune with one another. Because it's when you get completely and utterly lost in the dark. You don't get lost in a void. You just feel lost. You just feel like you're waiting. You just feel like you're looking for something that you can't find. You just feel like a wanderer and waiting for something to happen. That's the void. But the abyss is like you're swallowed up in a personal hell that is eating you from the inside out. And when you find yourself there, especially if you adapt to the abyss, it's much harder to make your way back to the surface, back to the illumination of the light. And the light is very lightweight. The light is absolutely lightweight. You have to adapt and acclimate to the light. The light is also so bright that it can feel like it's burning you. And it takes time to work your way towards a higher vibration of light. Because light will expose your shame. It will expose your guilt. It will expose things that you have been trying to hide from yourself in order to stay optimistic, but the light will ask you to just be brutally honest about the way this feels, and the next thing you know, you're on your knees crying, hating yourself for reasons you don't even need to hate yourself for. It's just part of human emotion to go through these strange windows, strange phases. So Oblivion, I don't know what that would be like. There's a reason why I've never come across a vibrational state defined as oblivion, and perhaps it's because souls will always exist. Your soul cannot die. I don't care what anybody says. If there's any spiritual speakers that say that your soul can die, it is not true. Your soul cannot die. I've seen souls trapped for very, very, very long periods of time that even forgot themselves in those very long periods of time, and they did not die. I've seen souls dried out to such an extreme degree, I don't even know how to cope with seeing souls in such a state like that. And you have to remember that you are connected to everything you've ever done, and in the past and in the future, in all versions of time, in all cycles of eternity. And it's all moving through the nucleus of yourself in this human form. And so you are picking up on every sound that you've ever been and ever will be through this one form of yours, which is simultaneous and parallel and happening all over the universe. And you're truly a fabric of everything that ever is, was, and ever will be. So you're completely infinite. Sometimes I feel the human being is running away from itself because it doesn't know how to embrace itself as an infinite being. And I get to wondering about this whole AI phenomenon is, again, rejecting oneself and replacing oneself with something better than oneself, which then would be defined as AI. But that's not true. The human being is in its best form. It has to continue to work on embracing itself. So chaos is that influence that encourages you to lose your way. You find your way from a place of strength and harmony to somewhere like the abyss, where you deserve to rot for all eternity for doing that thing you did that you can't forgive yourself for, that really wasn't as bad as you say that it was. So it's things like this. The chaos influences you to think less of yourself, or to hate yourself, or to say things that aren't nice to yourself, and then to blend in with the echoes of those sounds, and then to push yourself further and further away from your own personal light. Because what is chaos but what is the addition, the arithmetic? It's all of the sounds of every single soul that has ever been in despair in all eternity, is one body, one form of voice that is trying to find peace, that cannot ever find peace until we face it, until we nurture it, until we help it rest. And we have to do it all individually, and we do it together. And that's how the human race evolves. That's how we ascend from all these sort of shadow places. You can also just go sit in your garage and turn the light off and just breathe in that place of peace. So those are my thoughts. I guess I had a lot more to say than I had anticipated. It's really fun talking about all this stuff, you know? It's really fun. Thank you so much for that comment. That's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Like, subscribe, share. If you want to inspire the upcoming video, don't be shy to post a comment with your thoughts and ideas. If you're interested in exploring an individual one-on-one session with me, I would be honored to take a look at anything going on in your life. You can book a session at my website at abbeynormalswisdomquest.com. Have a wonderful day.